everyone, it's Ali. Thanks so much for joining me today. Are you ready to learn how you can make amazing backgrounds for your cards using toilet roll? Yes, toilet roll, loo roll, toilet paper, whatever you call it. Bog standard loo roll, that's what we're going to be using in today's video. My toilet roll is from a brand called Who Gives a Crap, and it's eco-friendly bamboo toilet paper, but you can use whatever toilet paper you have. It doesn't matter if it has embossing on it or texture, because the technique we're going to do, you won't be able to tell anyway. Let's get started. Both the techniques that we're going to do today involve dry embossing. For the first technique, I'm going to use this 3D embossing folder from Sizzix. You don't have to use a 3D one, I just thought it would be nice to show that you can. All we're going to do is place 5 sheets of toilet roll into the embossing folder, one on top of the other, and then we're going to run it through our die cut machine. In my Sizzix Big Shot, I need to use the thin base plate, the 3D embossing folder, and one of the plastic shims, that's all. But you'll have to check with the manufacturer instructions for your die cutting machine to see which combination of sandwich pieces you need. So that's all ready to go in the die cutting machine. I'm just going to wind it through the machine and back out again. And then we can see that has made some amazing texture on our toilet paper. The toilet paper has really captured all of the detail in the embossing folder, and we've got a really crisp white finish. So that's the first way we can use toilet paper. The second way is going to be similar, but we're going to do some inking in our embossing folder. So this time I'm using a regular embossing folder, not a 3D one, and I'm going to ink up the side that has the pattern debossed into it. So the background of our paper is going to be printed with the ink colour. So I've got this Pine Needles embossing folder here. I think this is from AliExpress, and I'm just using my Distress Oxide in Chip Sapphire to colour in the background, and then I'm just going to lay my toilet paper on top just as I did before. 5 sheets again on top of each other in the embossing folder. Close the embossing folder, making sure not to move your toilet paper around, because otherwise you're going to get a smudgy, messy ink splodge all over it, and you don't want that. Just pop the embossing folder closed and then pop it into the die cutting machine. Because this is not a 3D embossing folder, I have to use both clear plastic shims in my sandwich for this one, just to give it a little bit of extra pressure and make sure it goes through. So we're going to pop that through the die cutting machine, and when it comes out, it's going to have printed the ink onto the toilet paper, but also embossed the pine needle pattern. So the pine needles will be in white and they will be raised from the surface, and then the background will be in blue. So that makes an amazing effect. Because I swished the ink pad around on the embossing folder as well, we've got this amazing texture in the background too, which I think just looks awesome. So exciting. So now that's essentially the 2 different techniques we're going to do, and then we'll finish these off into cards so I can show you just some things to be aware of. So we'll trim our backgrounds down, and then the first one I'm going to make a frame to go over the top of my toilet paper. It's really funny that I keep saying toilet paper in this video, like it just feels very surreal. You might be worried that the edge of the toilet paper panel gets a bit like scruffy. So if you are worried about that, creating a frame to go over the top of it is probably your best bet. I did find that as long as I trimmed it carefully, that wasn't really a problem for me. But I can understand if you don't want people to see the edges, or you're worried about the paper coming apart. So making a frame to go over the top is probably your best bet. So I'm going to do a frame in this rose gold mirror cardstock, and then I'm going to pop my panel underneath the frame so you can still see the pattern and the texture, but we've got a nice frame to kind of neaten up the edges and just make it look nice and finished. I've also cut a matching sentiment from the same rose gold cardstock, just so everything on our card is nice and cohesive. This die is from AliExpress, these all the time. It's one of my most used Christmas dies because it's just goes with everything. For our other background, I'm going to use a different die which says Merry Christmas, and I'm going to cut that from Craft Perfect cardstock in this amazing satin cobalt blue mirror card, which I actually love for Christmas. I think blue needs to be used more at Christmas. I think it can make a really, really nice Christmas card. So I'm just going to keep this one really simple and just cut my sentiment. And I'm also going to cut a mat for my background from the same cardstock, just to make the card a little bit extra finish and add a little bit of extra detail. This is going to go underneath my toilet paper background, just to, you know, make the toilet paper look a little bit more glam. It's not every day you hear that, is it? Assembling this card is going to be really easy. I'm just going to pop my background on top of my mat. Then I'm going to glue my sentiment on top, and then that's ready to go onto my card base. And with the other background, it's just as simple. I'm just going to use double-sided tape on the back of my frame, stick that on top of my background, and then that's going to be ready to be mounted onto the card. Just to make the sentiment stand out a little bit more from the background, I'm going to put some foam tape on the back. Because this sentiment is quite chunky, I can get away with putting some foam squares on the back, but I do have to trim them down so they fit, so you can't see them. Just pop that on there, that looks great. For both of these cards, I'm going to mount them onto 6x6 square white card bases. The panels are not quite big enough for a 6x6 card, so I'm just going to trim the cards down. I could have made cards that were the right size, but it was just easier to grab these 6x6 bases and use those since I have a lot of them in my stash, so you know, may as well use them. And we're all done. You could of course embellish these cards with sequins or glitter or gems or anything you like. I just really wanted to make the backgrounds a proper focal point of these cards because I think they're gorgeous, and I don't think you'd ever know that they were made from toilet paper, would you? Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something new and that you're going to give this technique a try. If you do, I'd love to see what you create. So don't forget to tag me on social media. I am MetaBabyCow everywhere. For more tutorials and card making videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. I'd love to have you subscribe. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up to let me know. I hope to see you back here on my channel again soon. Bye!